Welcome, adventurers and creators, to another episode of 15-Minute Battlemap, where I attempt to create a battle map in 15 minutes. I'm your host, Ferdi, the developer of MapMe, the Battlemap editor for iPad. Each episode, I face a new challenge, designing a battle map in just 15 minutes. Designed to inspire your RPG campaigns, these maps are not just art, they're adventures waiting to unfold in your game. But there's more. We're not just creating, we're also testing MapMe, my under development app that is about to revolutionize the way you create battle maps and prep for your games. And the best part? Every battle map that we create in this challenge is available in the description down below. You can download it along with a PDF that describes the encounter and has a little stat block in there, so you can run an encounter on this battle map. You can just take it and drop it into your game. In today's episode, we're going to create an amazing battle map, 15 by 15 squares, for a section of crossroads in a dense forest for your players to enjoy. Today's episode also holds a very special surprise. I'm going to be spoiling a little feature that I'm working on for the app, so stay tuned for that. And if you're as excited about this as I am, then please join the beta. You can find links for the Discord or the email newsletter in the description box below. So join that if you want to be notified when the beta or the release comes out. Now, let's start that clock and get to work. Welcome to 15-Minute Map. Now we're going to start with a really interesting feature. This is a little bit of a spoiler. As you can see, I'm dragging in a file. And that's a feature that I call the Dungeondraft importer, meaning I'm working on a feature right now that lets you import your existing Dungeondraft assets right into the app. So you won't need to get new map packs or anything. If you have Dungeondraft assets already, you can import them into the app. That's something I'm working on right now. It's still a little bit buggy, but it works. And as you can see, I have a bunch more asset packs here that I'm already choosing to use for this. Which is why you'll see I have a lot more options for terrain here. So I'm starting with terrain, as always. The process is obviously sped up a little bit to make it a little bit shorter for you guys to watch, but I'm thinking of starting with grass and then introducing some sort of pathway, because since we're creating a crossroad, a section of crossroads, that's basically what I'm going for. I'm using a very thin brush here to make like 1 square-ish thick kind of road and creating those crossroads right there. Now I'm intentionally leaving the upper right corner a little bit bigger than the rest because I have a little bit of a plan for that already. At this point, I'm really just checking to see what types of asset I've got imported because I don't know all of the asset packs, and since I don't have a search feature yet, coming soon, I'm gonna have to see what I can use. My initial thought is I want to create some sort of a ruin in the upper right corner. That's what I was talking about earlier, where I said I have a little bit of a plan for that. I'm planning to place like maybe a ruined building or something there to give players a little bit of a playground to run around and use as cover and all sorts of fun things to make an encounter, especially a combat encounter, a little bit more interesting. I've placed the basic structure down now, and I'm looking to basically enhance this a little bit. I'm playing around with it, but then I ended just using some more textures, some terrain textures to give a bit more visual interest to the map, essentially. I always find that it's very good to give some visual interest in the terrain already, because it breaks up this uniformity of the texture. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm just basically painting in a variety of different grasses and a little bit of swampland so that it makes just the underground a bit more interesting. You're not really going to notice it in the map later on, but it's definitely there. It's one of those things where you can't really point at it, but you're definitely going to notice. Now, one thing I always do when I'm working with those maps is I'm creating them from the ground up. essentially what my thought process is here, I'm placing stuff that is low to the ground first so that I don't have to bring other objects to the back or to the front a lot, which really helps speed up the process, especially when I'm doing these 15-minute maps. I'm taking extra special care to pay attention to that. So that's why I'm placing underbrush, different ferns and stuff like that on the map right now, because it definitely helps avoid future work. Same with those rocks that I'm placing down now. It just helps to layer the stuff on top, because every item I place is going to be placed on top of all the other assets that are already down and so on. And so it really helps building this from the ground up. That's why you'll see me place a bunch of bushes now. I have accidentally included some trees, which I'm realizing right now. But usually I just place small bushes because it makes a lot more sense. And that's why I'm clearing the entire selection here. It's because I've noticed that I've got a lot of trees in there as well. Obviously, since this is a thick forest, or supposed to be a thick forest, there's going to be a lot of trees in the end. But as I said, I'm going to be focusing on the underbrush for now. Again, you can see me searching for assets a lot. That's something that I'll work on. I have a tagging system and a search feature coming. But for now, we're going to stick to that. And also sometimes it helps to browse the library to see what we got in those packs and get inspired. Now, I really like this gnarly looking tree, especially those two, the smaller one and the bigger one. So I definitely wanted to include those in the map, which is what I'm doing right here. I'm figuring out strategic places to place them down and basically have them as sort of eye-catching centerpieces to the map. And now that's the point where I start adding in a little bit higher stuff. I'm making sure that I'm using the same trees and bushes from the asset pack that I've already worked with to make sure that the style matches. And as you can see, I'm working my way up to bigger bushes and bigger brush. It's not entirely trees yet, but this is what we're gonna add now. And now here's a technique that I regularly use with many things to make the map more immersive. You can see me, especially in the top right corner, placing trees outside of the bounding box of the map. Now, that's because usually those trees wouldn't stop growing right at the edge of a map, right? This is just a window into a small area, and so having stuff creep in from the side, even if it's just a little bit of them, makes the map so much more immersive because it communicates that feeling of there's a lot more going on and this is just a glimpse into this world. Trying to add a little bit more details, but at this point I'm realizing that those rocks, really, there's a lot of them and they kind of distract me a little bit. So what you'll see me do now is delete a couple of those to focus more attention on this map in general and take a little bit of the highlights out, especially in the bottom right corner. I'm going to add another tree to make this look a little bit more balanced, essentially. And now that's when the timer hit. 15 minutes is up. I'm always fascinated how quickly 15 minutes go by. And so here's the result. I'm quite pleased with how this came out, especially since this is my second 15-minute map. I'm actually quite happy with how it turned out. And just like that, our journey comes to an end. Another battle map done and ready for you to use in your games. Thank you for joining me in this episode. Every click and every single one of these episodes brings MapMe closer to completion. And I'm very grateful for you taking the time out of your day to watch this video, support this. Your support means the world to me. Now, before you move on, if you're excited about this, if you like what you saw, please join the beta. We've got links for the Discord and for the newsletter in the description below. So if you're excited about this, if you want to get notified when the beta launches or the app comes to the App Store, sign up there, join the Discord. You're going to get regular updates on how the development progresses. Don't miss out on this chance to help shape this app, give feedback, and help shape the way this can revolutionize the way we prep our games as dungeon masters and game masters. If you have thoughts or if you have feedback, drop them in the comments box below and let's create something amazing together. Until next time, keep creating, keep exploring, and we'll see us in the next episode of 15 Minute Map.